Okay, so before we start, I want you all to pick up the pieces of paper under your desks. Okay, now sit down. Okay, so before we start our lesson, let us first play a game. I'm sure you haven't played this game before. Of course, I'm just being sarcastic. The game is called Guess the Sketch. Do you know what Guess the Sketch is? That's right. So guess the sketch. Literally, you're going to guess the sketch that I'm going to present to you. So I have presented a set of sketches, and then I'm going to flash them, and then whoever can answer correctly will get chips for the day. Is that clear? Okay, so let's start. So the first sketch will be... Okay, so can you guess who that is? Yes, that's right. So that person is Superman. So you get a chip for today. Thank you. So next one is... Okay, so who could guess what that is? Yes. That's correct. So the correct answer is the Beatles. I'm sorry because I have very poor drawing skills, but those are the Beatles. So here, you get a chip. Thank you. So the next one. Okay, so who can guess who that is? Yes? Okay, so it's not exactly a who, it's a what, so that's correct. It's holy water. So here is your holy chip. So the next one. Who can guess? Yes. Close, but no, it's not warrior. Yes. That's right. The correct answer is knight. Okay, so the last one. Yes. Very easy. Yes, that's correct. So the correct answer is television. So to those who earned, here's your chip. Okay. So to those who earned chips and answered correctly, congratulations. So let's give them a round of applause. So for those who didn't answer, better luck next time. Alright, so everybody, quiet now. So sit down. So everybody, sit down. Okay. So I trust that everybody researched what I told them to research. Did you? Okay, so that's nice. So I asked you to research about the different figures of speech. And so I'm going to discuss here today the different figures of speech. So one figure of speech is called alliteration. And alliteration is the repetition of an initial consonant sound. So an example of this is the very vast vacuum of space. So can everybody give me another example? Yes. Okay, so that's correct. That's another example. So the next one is anaphora. So anaphora is the repetition of the same word or phrase at the beginning of the successive clauses or verses. So one example of this is the very famous tagline, I came, I saw, I conquered. So the anaphora there is the repetition of the same word, I, which is repeated over the following phrases. I came, I saw, I conquered. So that's an anaphora. So another one, of course, you can replace I with they or any pronoun that you want. It would still be an anaphora because you would repeat it over the following sentences or clauses rather or phrases. So next. The next one is antithesis. So it's the juxtaposition or the positioning of contrasting ideas in balanced phrases. So an example of this is she made your heart melt but you're cold to the core. So the antithesis there, the contrasting idea is that she made your heart melt but you are cold-hearted. So how could she make your heart melt if you have a cold heart? So that's an antithesis. So another one is an apostrophe or breaking off the discourse to address an absent person or thing or some abstract quality, an inanimate object or a non-existent character. So a famous example of this is the nursery rhyme Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. So twinkle twinkle little star, how I wonder what you. Oh, so you want me to sing it? Okay, so twinkle twinkle little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Alright, so, okay. So, twinkle twinkle little star. It's an apostrophe because you are addressing to something that you don't know if it exists, or it is an inanimate object because a star is an inanimate object. So by addressing it without it being in your surroundings, so that is the apostrophe. So the next one is assonance. And assonance is actually the identity or similarity in sound between internal vowels in neighboring words. So an example of this is, I must confess that in my quest I felt depressed and restless. So the sound of with the s, so confess, quest, depressed, restless, it's actually repeated over the next four words. So confess, quest, depressed, restless, tireless, colorless, everything. So next one is euphemism, and euphemism is the substitution of an inoffensive term for one considered offensively explicit. So for example, you're going to take your pet to the veterinarian and he's gonna say, I'm sorry, but I have to put your pet to sleep. Don't just smile and say, oh, that's so cute, because put to sleep actually means to euthanize or to mercy kill. So that is an example of euphemism. So it's substituting a less offensive term for a more offensive term. So the next one is hyperbole or hyperbole, depending on how you would pronounce it. So hyperbole is an extravagant statement with the use of exaggerated terms for the purpose of emphasis or heightened effect. So, for example, I would say, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. So I cannot actually eat a horse. That just means that I'm really hungry enough to eat so much food all at once. So the hyperbole in there is that I could eat a horse when in reality I really cannot. The next one, irony. Irony is the use of words to convey the opposite of their literal meaning. So a statement or a situation where the meaning is contradicted by the appearance or presentation of the idea is irony. So for example, gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the boxing room. So like that. So why wouldn't they fight in there if it was a room designed specifically for two people to fight? So that's the irony in the statement. So the next one is called litotes. Litotes is a figure of speech consisting of an understatement in which an affirmative is expressed by negating its opposite. So, for example, the weather is not unpleasant at all. So that is a litote because I'm trying to say that the weather is lovely, the weather is beautiful, but instead of saying the weather is beautiful, I said the weather is not unpleasant. So that's an example of a litote. So the next one is metaphor. Metaphor is an implied comparison between two unlike things without using the terms like or as opposed to simile, which I will discuss later on. So an example of metaphor is, you are the light behind my eyes. So by comparing the subject to the light behind the speaker's eyes, you are making a metaphor because you compared her to something else, but you did not use like or as. So the next one is metonymy. So metonymy, a figure of speech in which one word or phrase is substituted for another with